So just again, a recap, what we're going to look at today are the sources, how to explore them, then our hands-on quests, and where should we go next? Okay, so the sources. You might or might not know what Diff is. Diff is a blog by and for the Wikimedia volunteer community to connect and share learnings, stories, and ideas from across the movement. It is hosted by the Wikimedia Foundation and managed by the movement. This is the link of diff.wikimedia.org. If you haven't written a post yet, you might want to, and share what wonderful projects you're working on, because this is a great way of, you know, letting others know what you're doing. And also, a very nice thing is that once you publish a post, sometimes the community translates that post into other languages. So we have a very active Japanese community translating a lot of those posts, especially the ones that are related to libraries. And thank you so much, Jen, for linking the post in the chat so others can learn about this wonderful place. So yeah, the blog does take submissions from anyone. You just need to have a Wikimedia account. So thank you so much for that question, Benjamin. Yes, so just so you have an idea, the Diff dataset has around 20 years of information from more than 1,000 authors in 60 languages, so it's pretty rich. And the other source is This Month in GLAM, which is a community-driven monthly newsletter written by the Wikimedia movement. And it's about activities within cultural institutions broadly defined. It has almost 2,000 reports, again, from many years. 70 countries have participated, countries/regions. Most of the reports are from countries, and some of them are from regions like Sub-Saharan Africa, and around 900 of them mention libraries. So yeah, just but also, as you might have guessed, the posts are not equally distributed. So most of them come from Europe or North America, and fewer of them are from what is called the Global South. So just so you know, those are the biases. And again, thank you, Jen, for posting the link. So now let's take a look at the data set. This might be trickier to get. I also posted the link to the slides, so you all should have access to these slides in case you want to come back to the links. And my computer is extra slow because I'm joining with my phone's data, but hopefully I have now linked to the data set I've created. And I'm going to give you a little tour. So the first tab is some metadata. If you feel like something's missing that I should add, please let me know. And yeah, so this data set was created this month by me. Here's the link to my meta page. When the original language of the post was not English, I translated it with DeepL. So it's an automated translation. It might contain errors. And once I have this conversation with you and I know, this might be missing and so on, I'm going to publish this data set in Figshare as I did with the previous one. So as you can see, my sources for this was two other data sets I had created before, one with old Diff posts, the other one with old This Month in GLAM posts. Here are the dates that were scraped. So as you can see, it was from 2008 to 2023 in the case of Diff, and from 2011 until 2023 in the case of the This Month in GLAM dataset. Cool. So in this other tab, what we see is all of them, like both This Month in GLAM and Diff posts that mention Wikidata. And then because it's a little bit big, I created two subsets, one with only Diff and the other one with only This Month in GLAM. And as you might see, it has slightly less columns than the complete one because there are some metadata fields that were present in Diff that weren't in the other and vice versa. So now I'm going to do like a little just tour of things we could possibly start filtering. So the way you do that is first you create a filter. So let me do that with another one. Let's say I want to filter this column, and now I'm gonna go here and create a filter and say I am interested in any time that education was mentioned. And by the way, that this month in GLAM does not have language column because all the posts that mentioned Wikidata were in English. So there was no point in having that other metadata fields. So then you select all 79. And one thing you could do once you have those filtered is, for instance, create, oops, I think I didn't select that. So again, I'm doing this, I'm writing education as a filter. And this should have been a little bit less buggy, but as I said, I'm joining with my phone's data, and this is why it's taking a little bit more than it should. So, okay, I should select those 79 and then be able to, I don't know if it did. Is it filtering? It doesn't look like that. Okay, but it should. If you had a proper working computer, then it would do that. And also another thing I added here is a Wikidata count. So just counting how many times the word Wikidata was mentioned in the post, because sometimes it is just, like one mention. So it's not really a post about a project that is very, yeah, Wikidata heavy, so to say. So you can also order the this column. You can order the information by this column. So here you could do it Z to A, and that would give you the post that mentions Wikidata the most to the ones that, yeah, just have like 3 mentions or less. So that's another filter you could use, as well as you could filter by country. So say you are interested in all the reports from just Africa as a region. And here you would see that there's only one post that actually mentions Wikidata only once. And yeah, and that is the one post we have in this database that is from the whole region, right? But let's say you would like to see if, yeah, all the posts from Mexico and Argentina and say Brazil. So here, I don't know why it's being this. Select all 46, hopefully. Something is really buggy. So let's see. This always happens with live demos, doesn't it? Here. So I've selected all the posts from Brazil, and here I can see that. Thank you for understanding, Benjamin. This is always the case, right? But in any case, I managed to at least select all the posts from Brazil mentioning Wikidata, and here's the count. So another way of doing this could be, if you know how to code, you could use pause. I don't know if everyone knows about this. I also added like a little intro in the slides, and you could ingest the dataset there and create filters with R or Python. I mean, you could do it also in your own computer. But if you haven't ever done code with Python or R, this is a very friendly way to start. And in order to use pause, you only have to have a Wikimedia account. So here you can start like an RStudio session, and RStudio is a very nice interface to create code. So I'll share the code in the slides later, but I highly recommend to use something called the tidyverse, which is a group of functions that you don't need to code yourself. It's already there. And here you could just ingest the Google Docs CSV or the TSV. And for that, I have already added the way you can ingest the TSV file here. So this link, yeah, directs you to the TSV, or you can, I think you can get it from here. So if you just go to File and Publish Data, or Share, here's the Publish to the Web Data, and I can just get all the Wikidata and this month in GLAM data here. And this is the URL. So here I could read the TSV and have a data frame with all the data. So where is the presentation slides link published? I didn't get to publish them in the session, but here's the link. I'm going to share it again, and I'll add that to my session as well in Sketch, like the platform where we have the whole information about the sessions for this conference. Okay, so let's open up the chat to get some questions and thoughts. What is something that you would like me to filter or look at so that we make this a little bit more interactive and it's not just me struggling to create a filter, but let me struggle at least with one filter that you are interested in. Um,
So I'm sure people are readying their questions. But I have maybe a question if you wouldn't mind. What kind of, and you might have said this, I might have just missed it while I was fiddling with knobs, but maybe you could repeat. What were kind of like the origins of this project and how did you sort of start with this? Because I think it's really interesting, but want to know about kind of the deeper history of it.
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. So I've been the senior program officer for libraries at the Wikimedia Foundation for 2 years now. And one thing that I think it's both a privilege but a challenge is that we get a lot of requests to, understand what folks can do given that they're interested in a certain thing, right? And one thing I realized from those requests from all over the world is that, I mean, I was a volunteer for 14 years before joining the foundation, and I didn't have an overview of what's happening, who's doing what, and it felt like we were always reinventing the wheel. So I thought, I am a librarian, right? And what librarians do is organize information. This is what we're trained for. This is, like for most of us, this is the passion. So I thought, maybe I can bring those skills as a digital humanities librarian and try to organize at least one part of the space of the Wikimedia landscape. And this is how it all started. I was like, okay, let's look at where people are sharing what they do. So, yes, one was the Diff post and the other one was the newsletter. And I scraped that data and started thinking about which fields might be interesting for folks. Like, okay, maybe they're interested in recent projects, maybe projects that were posted by a specific person and so on. So, but still, there's a lot of things to do. So this is why I was very keen to be here and listen at what are the questions that others might have. So, mhm.
I'm seeing something that I think is phrased as a statement or comment, but maybe contains a question from Benjamin Reisenberg. Some kind of filtering on knowledge domains, like subjects of projects, is the first thing that comes to mind. Do you have any reactions to that?
Yeah. So this is why I published the data set so anyone can start building on that one. So for instance, I don't know, maybe someone wants to create something like a topic model, right? So right now it does not have subjects. And also I was thinking about importing the tags from Diff. So that is something I could definitely add the tags. But as many folks might know from working with folksonomies, for instance, they are a mess. Everyone adds a tag as they believe they could describe the subject, but it's not. Yeah, it is not consistent. So maybe someone, maybe Benjamin, I don't know, or someone else would like to create a topic model and start identifying some subjects, right? Or even doing it manually. There aren't that many posts, so maybe we can do first a manual version. I would love to collaborate with anyone who's interested in that. And for next iterations, because there will be more blog posts, maybe we can train a model based on those manual tags we first curated. So some ideas, but let's see what we can do.
I'm seeing a couple of questions from Jan Ainali. If I'm mispronouncing that, please provide some clue in the chat. I do apologize. The first one is, do you see some big differences in the blog data from the time before Diff became Diff, that is before 2020?
Well, I haven't done that specific analysis yet, but maybe this is something again we could do, right? Like maybe we can use this data set, maybe not because the one I shared has only posts that are related to Wikidata, that mention Wikidata, right? But there's the bigger data set I also linked in the metadata of this spreadsheet with all diff posts. So that is something we could do, and maybe not just for before 2020, after 2020, but rather by year. Maybe we could look at trends by year, right? Again, that would require a little bit more work, but if anyone is interested, I'd love to hear your ideas. We can collaborate on those research quests. Yeah, that would be very cool.
And a second question, do you think it would be hard to import your data sets into Wikibase? He's thinking specifically of Metabase.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I think there's one instance now of Wikibase for digital humanities research, and maybe, I mean, if other folks, I couldn't do it myself, but if other folks are interested in creating a Wikibase of diff posts or a Wikibase of this month in GLAM posts or both, just Wikimedia posts, Wikibase. Ooh, I think that would be super cool. And the first import wouldn't be that hard, right? Because we already have some columns. We could just, create an ontology where those columns can be, yeah, imported to. So the first phase is not the difficult one. What is difficult is then to create a team that is engaged enough to keep the work going and not just, one Wikibase that it's abandoned and not used by anyone.
And Jan has provided a URL stating maybe they already did. Um, if you're looking at that, that's great. I'm going to put a question that Kate Peck put into the chat. I'm going to verbalize that. Sorry if you've explained this already, but what does Wikidata count indicate?
Oh yeah, so that's just how many times the word Wikidata, regardless of capitalization, is that the word? Like if it's, written with a capital W or not, was mentioned in that specific post. So that gives you an idea of how Wikidata heavy that post is. And just to comment on the post Jan shared in the chat, it seems like that's more on the month level, so not that much on the like post level. Maybe I'm wrong, but just like it does have like this month Sweden report, but like the authors, but maybe not the content. So then you wouldn't be able to look at you wouldn't be able to search what was talked about. But maybe what we could do there is add the subjects that are a result of, you know, a topic model that we create or a curated metadata. Yeah, yeah, it's just the metadata. Cool.
I'm sure everybody is typing furiously to get their questions on the board right now, but I think maybe I could ask one in terms of, and this is something that again, you probably mentioned in your talk, but I missed, where in sort of the project cycle or product cycle are you on this? Is it something that is already out there and you're continuing to work on, or what are the future plans for this?
So this talk is pretty much to understand if this is something we should keep investing time on, or if it's, like nothing that is helping anyone. So pretty much I already finished my first round with this. Like this was a hypothesis I had. I got some time as a program officer to work on this. And now I'm in the part of the hypothesis in which I'm sharing the database with as many stakeholders as I can to understand what are their needs and what is missing to then inform the next step. So that's why that was the whole that was the last part of this session to understand where would you like this to go? What is something that would be useful for yeah, people that are doing Wikidata projects?
If I've missed anybody's questions and they're kind of sitting up in the stream, please maybe repost them just in case. Um, have you had any, from your perspective, any particularly interesting results come out of this? Things that you did either expected and were nevertheless important, or things that you didn't expect that really kind of blew your mind?
Well, one thing that that I've been finding about projects I didn't know about that's something that happens a lot when you're doing yeah, like just search. So, for instance, there's this project that sadly is not maintained anymore because the data scientist who was working on it doesn't work with Wikimedia Deutschland anymore. But for instance, I learned about the Wikidata Concepts Monitor, and there was this wonderful Diff post in which this data scientist shared what the world would look like. Like these maps. I'm gonna search for the diff post. I think it's gonna be clearer if I just show you what it looks like. But yeah, like what would the world look like if we only looked at Wikidata items? So obviously, it's like the world was only Europe and not anything else. So here's the diff post. I'm gonna share the link. And so that is something that is, oh no, 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 that's not the link to the diff post. Sorry. Here's the link to the diff post. Um, So yeah, this is the cartogram I was referring to. And another thing, like in the digital humanities, it's always hard to surpass the so what factor. You have the data, but then, learning something that is really impressive, it's hard to get. But one thing I might be not mind-blowing, but I think it's really important is that once I had the data, for instance, I could create the map I shared with you, in which you know from which regions we're getting reports for the This Month in GLAM newsletter. So I think this is something that some people how is it might have an intuition for it. They might already know, oh, probably there are more posts from Europe, right? Or North America, but they didn't know that to the data level. So some might not know that the majority came from Sweden, for instance. Like that is not something you already knew. Like just by looking at the newsletter, you don't know that. So I think that is something that is nice to have, right? Like sudden you then have precise data about how these disparities look like um, more precisely.
Yeah, definitely. Jan has another question. Sorry, just scroll up. Have you spotted something that was clearly reinventing the wheel rather than building on previous experiences?
Mm, no, I think that's very hard to get from just looking at the data itself. And actually, I was more curious about the other side of that coin. I'm not looking at people who are reinventing the wheel. I'm more interested in people that are doing similar things because the thing that I'm most interested about is connecting folks who are doing similar things so that they can work together rather than be in silos. So, but I mean, it's also interesting you could do something like TF-IDF, like term frequency and verse document frequency to find out the posts that have the most unique words that are using the most unique terms. And in that way, you might be able to find which are the projects that, are talking about something completely different from the rest. So that is also interesting, definitely. But no, I have not been concentrating on that much.
Benjamin has a question that's kind of nested. So I'm just going to read the question. If you think that the context is important, Benjamin, break in. What about making use of all the project pages that exist in the Wikidata namespace? And then he adds, this seems like a big source for the kind of information we're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, do you mean like adding, also to search for Wikibase, search for Wikipedia, Wikisource, and so on? Benjamin? Oh, you mean no. Just Wikidata project pages. Yeah, that is also a cool idea, like creating a data set of all wiki projects. There was a project by a colleague of mine called Alex Stinson. You might know him. He did an analysis of wiki projects and how people collaborate in wiki projects. So I'm gonna as yeah, he actually published about this in Diff. So that might be something to think about, like just drilling down to Wikidata projects. So that's the Diff post Alex published of his research on wiki projects in general. But looking into wiki projects would be super cool, Benjamin. I think that's a great idea. Absolutely. I mean, if you're interested, Benjamin, we could work on it together, or you could work on it and let me know what you're doing. I would love that. I could definitely help with the scraping part and creating a data set, and then we can, if anyone else here of the 53 people that are now in this Zoom call is interested, we could do something really nice, I think. And I think we missed one question from someone who was asking if we could look at yeah, mentions of Colombia in the in the data set. So I'm just gonna share real quick my screen. And oh, sorry, let's see. Oops. And I'm doing this with R because as we saw, doing the filters right now, given my bandwidth, was not really working. So, nope. I am not sharing what I'm supposed to. Not that, not that. Sorry about it. Here? Are you looking at RStudio right now?
No,
You're not.
looks like a browser window.
Okay, let me try that again. So, here. I guess you are looking at RStudio now.
It's just loading. We'll
Okay,
give it a, yeah, there it is.
perfect. So, here is, it does seem like a lot of code, but I can break it for you and it's going to be really clear once I do. So, and the thing is, you can just change the word here and you will search for any term you're interested in. So, what I'm doing here is, this is my data frame. And as I said, the only thing I did is post the TSV URL that I shared with you in the slides. So what I'm doing is I'm reading that TSV and saving it in this variable. So here is DF. This is just the table. So here it is. It's the complete thing, including this month in GLAM and diff post. So both of them here. And this filter, what it's doing, by the way, you need to install the tidyverse, and the way you do it is just click on Control Enter, or you either click here and run. And as you see, it says Control Enter is the other way you can do it. And you have to run this line, and then here, also this line, you have to run it. And then here, I'm searching for all the occurrences of the word Colombia. And here, what I'm doing is ignore case. So it's ignoring if it's capital or if someone missed capitalizing Colombia, both in the title and in the full text. So I can save those results here like this, like I'm saving it to this variable. And here is the data frame of all the mentions of Colombia in both this month in GLAM and in the diff post. So it's interesting to see that, for instance, they mentioned Colombia here in the Sweden report, and then we can, oops, take a look at that, this one. And here we can see that, okay. So in this report, they were talking about the expedition to Panama and Colombia, and that's why Colombia is being mentioned in this Swedish report. So yeah, that's that's how you filter. And you can do it with any word. Like you could say, okay, I'm gonna create a data frame that is called education, and what I'm gonna look for is the word education both in the title and full text. And you can do that. And then voila, you see there are 296 mentions of the word education in those reports. And actually, something that is nice is that once you have that, you can create, for instance, a count for country, say. So you can count this and sort equals true. So we get the results ordered. And as you can see, NA is because 216 come from Diff. So they don't have country data, but 19 reports that talk about Wikidata and mention the word education. So Brazil is, has a lot of reports about Wikidata and education, and it's followed by UK, Sweden, and so on. So yeah, I'm going to share this code so you can run it, and you could change the name of the column whenever you want. So if you look at the names, I'm sorry, the column names like this, you can say, okay, so I'm interested in counting for years. So you just change this name here, year, and then you do the same thing. So now you can see that most reports are from 2023 and so on. And yeah, that's how you do it.
And where are you going to share this code? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I normally share everything in my GitLab. So I'll share the link to my account, my Wikimedia GitLab account, and I'll post the link to that in the slides. So you will get that there. Yeah. So for instance, this is a code I wrote on how to measure retention. Yeah, and everything I do, I share here. So
So
that's
you're
my,
also working with Jupyter Notebooks in Python. Is there a reason you chose R over Python for at least this specific project?
yeah, because I feel so R was created by biologists who were working with data. So it's very good to do data stuff, especially if it's a small data set and not a huge one. And I feel like, I don't know about you folks, but when I teach code, somehow it's easier for everyone to just, like have the variables in one place and being able to open them like this and just looking at the thing, like the subset you created as a table. And that's not, I mean, there are also other libraries in Python to do similar things, but it's not already in one place. Like here, I think this is easier to digest, but that's the reason why I chose to use R instead of Python for this specific case. Just for me, the Tidyverse is one of the best libraries to create filters and also um, visualizations. And yeah, but I could do it in Python if it's easier for everyone. Yeah, you're welcome, David. Con mucho gusto. And I mean, now the barriers are getting lower now that we have Copilot or, DeepSeek, ChatGPT. You can ask, those AI assistants to help you create some filters or some code. So that's, yeah, it's making it easier, I think. Does
I've
anyone
had,
want to, yeah,
oh,
do
I was going
another
to say,
filter?
I've had some success with Claude, but yeah, I just wanted to note that we're at 45 minutes. Definitely, we have time for some more questions, but Sylvia, if you have any kind of additional demonstrations or little examples that you want to work through, then by all means, we have time.
Ooh, I love the questions. They're so good. I'm just looking at this question that Jan did. I guess a little bit prompted by the Colombia search. And this is what I think it's really interesting. Once you do a question, then other pops into your mind. So I don't know, Mark, would you want to read out loud Jan's question?
Sure, just the very latest one at the bottom of the
Yeah.
stream. So Jan says, it would be interesting to make a circular relationship graph to see which origin countries mention other countries and to what extent.
Yeah, definitely. And we can, I mean, I'm not sure this would yield results right now, but just to demonstrate how you could use like an AI assistant, I don't have Copilot installed, or I mean, I'm the pro version of Copilot, but maybe let's just look at yeah, how would, I don't know how it will do it, but we could ask DeepSeek right now, like, I created this filter searching for versions, mentions of Colombia. I did this filter searching for Colombia mentions, but now I want to search all countries that are mentioned in other posts. So, how would I do it? And let's see, maybe it doesn't yield any result, but any useful result, but maybe it does.
We're
So
doing it live.
we're doing it live. Yeah. So here there's this list of countries, and that's nice because yeah, here it's saying add all countries you're interested in, but we could start with this version and then you would create that and yeah, let's see what it would look like. This one, let's copy this one. And that would be one way to start. Then we can look at the results and keep asking AI to refine the first thing they did. So obviously this will only be looking at this, and also, I mean, we could refine here that it searches for either UK or United Kingdom and it collapsed them into one and stuff like that. But yeah, just let's take a look at the first go, like what it created. So here, what is it doing? It's not adding anything. Hmm. All countries is just looking. So, okay, so what we got here is just one data frame that has all posts in which a country, one country from this list is being mentioned. So the next thing we could do is show the data frame that was created and ask to create like a count of how many countries other countries are mentioning, something like that. So you can say create a data frame from this one. From, actually, I'm going to say from all countries, counting how many different countries. And then we can do it like by country. But anyways, I think you get the idea of how you could work with AI to do something like this. Were mentioned by country, sorry, in this month in GLAM. Yeah. Any other suggestions, ideas? So here, it was suggesting we use this library, but Tidyverse already contains that library, so that's not necessary. And here we go, like just, I mean, I would need to take a better look at this. All countries. I don't think it's doing what we're hoping for. Let's see. Name equals count. Let's see. There we go. So It seems like the UK is the one that is mentioning more countries. The UK reports. And Italy is mentioning 41, and then we could filter. But yeah, it's already interesting to see.
I think it's heartening that it still requires a human in the loop to make all this work. So I think
Absolutely. And
you're
to be
doing a great job
critical.
modeling how we can work with AI for this. But I see a question from Kate, who was asked a question earlier, Kate Peck. Could you use AI to assign more consistent keyword tags?
Yes, I mean, you can work with AI, but again, as Mark was just saying, I think it's nice to get the AI suggestions, but then really have a human in the loop to check those keywords and understand if those are the ones that we really want. So I think yeah, we could definitely try. Using AI for that. This is why I was suggesting topic modeling because it's not that computing heavy, but it also works. And that's a first go at creating tags with computers. But then again, we might have curiosities like the one Jan just had that might not be considered by AI, right? Maybe AI does not add a tag, a keyword tag of countries that are mentioned, but that might be something we want to know. So, yep. Short answer, yes, we could, but then maybe we don't want to, or maybe we want to do it with humans in the loop. So let's see if I understood correctly from everyone's questions. What are things that we might want to do forward? So I see an interest of having better subject tags. That's definitely something I go out of this talk. Like subjects would be great. And as I said, um, if anyone is interested in working on that, please do drop an email and we can think about this together. My email is in the slides. So definitely want that. Another thing I go out of the is that there's an interest in also looking at another source, which is Wiki projects, and I love that. So Benjamin, if you would like to work on this or do this yourself and just get some feedback from other folks, I'd love to be in the loop. And the other one is that maybe we need a linked data set with this information, maybe a Wikibase or maybe enriching the existing one that Jan so kindly linked in the chat. So that is another thing. And yeah, and I'll share my code in GitLab just in case it's useful, but I would love to keep knowing what are other things folks are interested in. I think we have 6 minutes. So just, so we know, could you write in the chat what are things you are doing with Wikidata? What are things you are working on? And I will definitely export this chat to see if we can find more projects like yours in this data set. So if you're working creating authority controls or I don't know what you're doing. So please just write in the chat, what is that you're doing with Wikidata in your GLAM institution or maybe outside GLAM? Hmm. So David is sharing he's working on public domain in Latin America. And so I think I know this project and what you're doing, David, is you are modeling what things are in public domain with Wikidata, right? So you can get like updated lists of which things are already public domain. Correct me if wrong, David, but I really like this project. Anyone else who would like to share what they're doing? Hmm. So government data, Jan, is definitely something I've seen people talk about. So maybe that's another thing we could search for. Um, oh, perhaps not using that precise terminology, but at least we get one URL from this Switzerland report that is from 2015, which they're using government data in a way. So that's let's see if public domain is something that we can find. So public domain. Anyone else who would like to share? Ooh, so public domain is something that occurs in 140 posts. So that's something you might want to check out. Black bibliography project. Oh, yeah, I love that project, Mara. Hmm, that's so cool. So maybe also you would like to search for who is doing things around literature, maybe also Black authors or African authors. So yeah, literature is definitely something that occurs. So that could be something, like looking at who else is doing literary research using Wikidata might be interesting for you, Mara. I don't know. Or yeah, or literary, or maybe even use something like this, like so that could be another way of using this. Anyone else? For any the Black Bibliography Project. And this is the one that Jan shared. If there's like a wiki project, Jan, about this, that would be also so nice to see. And also, Mara, if you would like to share in the chat the link to your wiki project, that would be cool. So others can learn about it. We have 2 minutes, and I guess I wanted to hear about so many projects or things, even if it's not a project, even if it's just something you're wishing to do, that would be so nice. I'm going to leave a space in my slides where folks can add what they're working on. So maybe if you were shy today, you hopefully would like to share afterwards, and we get, yeah, Wikibase coming soon. Yay. For the Black Literary Project. And Jan just shared the wiki project. It's great. I'm going to definitely add your wiki project to my slides. So we have some examples, and hopefully other folks feel inspired to share theirs. Ooh, nice. I love the PCC Wikidata community of practice. This is my dream that there's also a PCC for Latin America, and it seems like it's happening. So, ooh, fingers crossed. I think that is a beautiful collaborative project, Sasha. Thank you for sharing. So that is another word that you could share. I mean, you could search for here. Maybe cataloging could be another word, and you could see how many people have talked about cataloging. Cataloging, maybe. And maybe once you see the post, you can think about other keywords. So let's see. Wow, at least six projects mention the word cataloging. So that's cool. And that's also cool. Kate, what you shared, that you create Wikidata entries for all of your faculty and centers. I think this is something that many others do as well. I know for a fact that that's something El Colegio de México in Mexico was doing because that's where I used to work. And I know also that people in Brazil are doing that. And it would be so cool if we could start identifying all the folks who are doing the same so we could share like some things that have been difficult and good practices or ways in which you might use Scholia, for instance, in a very attractive way. So yeah, I think that is, and I wonder, Kate, if you could think of which keywords we could use to find others who are also adding faculty members. Maybe that's a word. Faculty could be, I don't know, faculty members. We could think of other ways of finding people who are doing so. Faculty members, yeah, it seems like there are at least 3 posts. Um, yeah, it was tough to find models, wasn't it? It was tough for us as well, but maybe if we went through all the difficulties together, it would be yeah, we could
I'll note
advance.
quickly that we are technically
Yeah.
out of time, but we can
Oh, yes.
stay as long as we need to. I am happy to keep the room open.
No, thank you so much. And I'm sorry, it's hard to when it was getting so interesting now that people were sharing what they're doing. I should have done this at first. I didn't. I was hoping that while folks were suggesting terms to search, we would it would surface what people are, interested in. But yeah, maybe we should have started that way. In any case, I'm gonna leave my slides open so you can keep sharing what you're doing. Matt Kelly, it's so cool to see that you're thinking about historic preservation professionals, how they can use Wikidata. So, yep. I don't want to keep you because there are other very interesting sessions, and I might be overlapping with someone else at the conference. So I'll let you go. But again, slides open. I'll put there my code, and I'll hope you can share more of the things you're working on. I'm gonna use these examples in my code, so you have yeah, like examples of how you could filter the data in your interest. Mark, you were such a great host. Thank you so much for
No, thank
reading the
you.
questions, asking questions yourself. So thank you for this time together.